continue talking about subtraction across zeros, but we're going to talk about when you have a zero within a number, okay? So it's not just an even 10 or an even 100 or an even 1,000, but the zero is within the number. So I'm going to switch over to my document camera and we'll get started. All right, here we go. Make sure we're focused. Okay, so just like I was saying, you can see that my starting number in this subtraction problem is not 500 even, where I have two zeros and I'm subtracting across all the zeros. I have a zero within the number. It's in the tens place. So let's go ahead and do the subtraction problem. And then we'll talk about it a little bit more. Get my marker ready. There we go. Okay, so again, starting in my ones place as always, 6 minus 9. I can't do that. 6 is a smaller number than 9, so I need to regroup going to my tens place. That's where I have that 0, so I have to move over to my hundreds place. When I borrow from the hundreds, I take a whole 100 away, so that 5 becomes a 4. And what's in the tens place now becomes a 10. Okay, and that represents 10 tens. I still don't have enough in my ones place, but I do have something in my tens place now to regroup. So that's going to become a 9. Sorry for that small 9 right there. But the 6 that I have in the ones place now gets to become a 16. So I'm looking at 16 minus 9, which is 7, 9 minus 2, which is 7, and 4 minus 3, which is 1. So we have worked this out to see that 506 minus 329 is 177. Now let's look at this same problem in a little more detail as we do it in expanded form. So the value of the 5 is 500. The value of the 10 in the tens place is 0. And the value of the 6 in the ones place is 6. So there is this number, 506, in expanded form. And that's just where I've stretched it out and given each digit its value. I'm going to put my subtraction sign there because even though I have the pluses here, it's only because it's expanded form. I'm still doing subtraction as my computation. All right, let's look at this 329. The value of the 3 is 300. The value of the 2 in the tens place is 20. And then the value of the 9 in the ones place is 9. So showing you this in expanded form is really just what all of this means. All right, so here we go. 6 minus 9. I can't do it, so I go to my tens place, which has zeros. There's nothing for me to regroup there, so I have to go all the way to the hundreds. When I borrow from the hundreds, I take a whole 100. So this 500 becomes 400. The 100 that I am borrowing or regrouping, I'm moving right here. Okay, so now I still need to get some over to my ones place so I have enough to do my subtraction. So from the tens place, I borrow a 10. So that's going to become 90, and this becomes 16. Now I can do my subtraction. 16 minus 9 is 7. 90 minus 20 is 70. And then 400 minus 300 is 100. And I put that all back together, and I have 177. The same answer as we got using the traditional way to do subtraction. All right, let's try another one. Again, this is one where the 0 is within the number. It's in the tens place again, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. So my ones place is telling me 8 minus 6. Do I need to regroup for that? I definitely don't, do I? No, 8 is a greater amount than 6, so I can do that subtraction. 8 minus 6 is 2. I'm here in my tens place, which is 0 minus 9. I don't have enough to do that, so I borrow from here. This becomes my paper moved. This becomes a 6, and this becomes a 10. And I don't need to I was already able to do my 1, so I can just do my subtraction. 10 minus 9 is 1, and 6 minus 2 is 4. So we have found that the answer to 708 minus 296 is 412, and that's with a 0 within the number. So let's do it this way as always. I have 700 plus no tens plus 8 ones. That's expanded form. I'm still subtracting. There's my big old subtraction sign. 200 plus 90 plus 6. So same way, I'm starting here in my ones place. 8 minus 6, I can do that, even in expanded form. In my tens place, I have 0 minus 90. I can't do that, so I'm going to regroup from here. I borrow a whole 100, and this turns into 100. Now, 100 minus 90 leaves me 10, and 600 minus 200 is 400. I put all this back together, and I have 412. Way to go, everybody. So the same thing applies when we have numbers that are 4 digits. If numbers are 4 digits, they go up to the thousands place. So let's look at this one. Here's 3,058 minus 174. Let's get straight to solving. I look at my ones place, and it's asking me to do 8 minus 4. Can I do that? Yes, I certainly can. I can do that with no regrouping. 8 minus 4 is 4. Now I move to my tens place. I have 5 minus 6. I'm unable to do that in this problem because 6 is more than 5. So I need to borrow or regroup from my hundreds. There's a 0 there. I can't, so there's nothing for me to borrow from or regroup from. So I have to go to my thousands. That's going to become a 2. And that becomes a 10. Okay. Now, am I in my tens place where I need to be yet? Nope, not yet. I have to borrow. So when you're borrowing for a 0, it always becomes a 10 first and then becomes a 9. The next number becomes, the 10. And sorry, I already had 5 there. So 5 plus the 10 I borrowed makes that number 15. Sorry about that. So I'm looking at my tens place. 15 minus 6 is 9. 9 minus 7 is 2, and 2 minus 1 is 1. So we have figured out that 3,058 minus 1,764 is 1,294. So let's look at it in expanded form. 3,000 plus 0 hundreds, the value of that 5 is 50, and then the value of 8 ones is 8, minus 1,000 plus 700 plus 60 plus 4. And again, the pluses are only because it's an expanded form. I'm looking at my ones place, 8 minus 4. I can do that. It's 4. I'm looking at my tens place. It's 50 minus 6. And that's what this means right here in the tens place too, because the value of that 5 is 50 and the value of that 6 is 60. 50 minus 60, I can't do it. I go to my hundreds place. There's nothing there to borrow from, so I have to go to the thousands. That 3,000 is going to become 2,000, and I borrowed a whole 1,000, so I'm going to write that right there. I still don't have enough in my tens place, so I'm going to regroup from my hundreds. When I borrow from the hundreds, I borrow a whole 100. So I made that 900, and the 100 that I put there is right there. There was already 50 plus the 100 that I borrowed or regrouped from is now there. So 150 minus 60, you may not know that, but 15 minus 6 is 9. So 150 minus 60 is 90. 900 minus 700 is 200. And then 2,000 minus 1,000 is 1,000. And if I put this number back together, here we go, 1,294. Way to go. Let's do this last one. So in this one, when we're subtracting across zeros, can you see that I have 2 zeros within this 1,000? You got it. All right, so let's get started. My ones place is telling me 3 minus 8. I can't do that. I go to my tens. There's a 0, nothing to borrow from. I go to my hundreds. There's a 0, nothing to borrow or regroup from. So I have to go all the way over to the thousands. This 6 is going to become a 5. Now remember, watch how this happens. And this becomes a 10. Well, I still have to move over these numbers to get to my ones. So I have to borrow from here, and it becomes 9, and that lets the 10 in my tens place, the 0 in my tens place become a 10. Now I still got to keep going here. So I borrow 10 again. This becomes a 9, and there are already 3 there. So with the 3 that are there, plus the 10 that I borrowed, or how I regrouped, I get a 13. All right, 13 minus 8 is 5. 9 minus 2 is 7. 9 minus 5 is 4. And 5 minus 2 is 3. So 6,003 minus 2,528 is 3,475. Okay, let's look at it this way. I have a 6,000, I have no hundreds, I have no tens, and 3 ones. And from that, I'm going to subtract 2,520 and 8. Again, just like we decided before, I have to go all the way over to the thousands place to get a 10, so I can make that 13, so I can do my subtraction. So let's do that. When I borrow from the thousands, I borrow a whole 1,000. So the 1,000, I'm gonna put it right here. It's not gonna stay that way. So when I borrow from the hundreds or regroup from the hundreds, I borrow a whole 100. So this is going to become 900, and the 100 that I borrowed or regrouped goes right there. I still need to get to my ones place, and when I borrow from the tens, I borrow a whole 10. So this gets to become 90, and that's how this becomes 13. Okay, 13 minus 8 is 5. 90 minus 20 is 70. 900 minus 500 is 400. And 5,000 minus 2,000 is 3,000. And you know it, I put it back together, and I have 3,475. All right. Nice job with all this subtraction practice with zeros, third grade. Hang in there, keep doing your best work, and I look forward to doing another math video with you really soon.